La loi du marché, un film qui concourt pour la Palme d'Or cette année à Cannes, un film de Stéphane Brizé. Bonjour Stéphane Brizé, merci d'être là avec nous. À vos côtés, votre acteur Vincent Lindon. Merci Vincent Lindon, acteur, coproducteur également de ce film, aux côtés de Christophe Rossignon. Stéphane Brizé, c'est une première en compétition.
Stéphane Brizé, this is your first time in
avec
competition here in Cannes.
Qui a une saveur particulière
With a film
ici
with a
à Cannes. Est-ce que ce n'est pas anodin de présenter la loi du marché dans le festival qui est aussi un festival de glamour, de montée des marches?
In French is called La loi du marché, the law of the market. Here in Cannes, well,
c'est assez bien joué, quoi.
I think it's a happy play on words.
C'est une bonne combinaison. Vincent Lindon, c'est une fierté particulière de monter les marches avec ce film.
Lindon, how do you feel about going up the steps and on the red carpet with this particular film?
C'est exactement le mot. C'est une fierté particulière.
I'm really proud.
D'abord parce que c'est extrêmement valorisant de venir à Cannes.
It's very prestigious to come to Cannes
parmi très
and
peu
to
de
say
gens.
that we have been chosen out of so many films.
Et pour ce film, c'est vraiment ça me bouleverse. Je suis
really
d'ailleurs, je ne le cache pas, je le dis à qui veut l'entendre.
I
je suis ravi d'être là.
wants to hear it. I'm
thrilled
to be here to defend this film.
Well,
we are delighted to greet you here along with your
qui va de moins en moins bien.
Filmmaker.
Oui, dans le monde tout
What's
entier,
wrong with the employment market here in France? Well, all over the world,
aujourd'hui,
today,
transforme les hommes et les oblige à devenir des gens qu'ils n'ont pas envie d'être.
The type of people they don't
pour sauver
want
sa
to
place.
be, just to hold on to their
on est
job.
obligé de perdre son âme parfois.
So you have to lose your
C'est ce que raconte
soul
effectivement ce film, ce
that's
dilemme
the story
moral.
of the film.
Vous
There's
vous
a
êtes
moral
fixé, justement, vous
dilemma.
parlez de la loi du marché, vous avez fixé des lois
talking about
pour tourner ce film en
law
21
of the
jours avec des
market.
comédiens non
You
professionnels.
decided, I believe, to film within a limited number of days and have just one professional actor. What are the rules that you set for yourself? Well, exactly. We wanted to film quickly. We wanted to have a very small team, under 15 people in the team. We had a really small budget on purpose.
Au début du tournage, le moyen de faire le meilleur film. Si il avait fallu 3 fois plus d'argent, 3 fois plus de personnes pour faire le meilleur film,
size of the team to make a better film, then that's what I would have done. But in this particular case, it was the right thing to do, to have Vincent working with non-professional actors, just to inject truth into the film.
Et puis le cadre de production semblait juste pour justement faire disparaître le plateau de cinéma.
We wanted to get rid of the movie set so that these non-professional actors were in as natural an environment as
presque à la
possible.
manière d'un documentaire avec
It's
d'ailleurs un
almost a documentary. In fact, your
Stéphane Brizé,
director of photography does come from the world
face à des
of
comédiens non professionnels qui jouent leur propre rôle. La
so
banquière est une
Vincent,
banquière.
you are playing with
Qu'est-ce que ça
non-professional
change pour
actors. The
l'acteur
banker is really a
qui a
banker. How does
l'habitude
that
d'ailleurs d'incarner des
change things
métiers,
for
de se
you?
retrouver confronté à des situations comme celle-là?
Ça change strictement rien, en tout cas pour moi.
Not for me,
ça
anyway.
change avant de tourner, avant moteur.
Before
Et ça
we started
change
to
après
film,
coupé parce que j'ai passé du
it
temps avec
changes a
eux.
bit, and afterwards also. But
J'ai adoré être
I spent a lot of
contact.
time with
Et pendant
them. I learned a
le
lot
temps
from
de
them.
la
But
prise, pendant le
while
temps
we
du
are
tournage,
shooting,
Stéphane nous mettait dans une
Stéphane,
telle condition où chacun
creates an environment
était en
whereby
incarnation
we
parfaite
are
avec le
all
rôle
perfectly
qu'il
incarnating
interprétait,
the role
jamais
we
je me
have
suis
to
dit,
play.
tiens,
That
je joue avec
never
quelqu'un
I said
qui
to
n'a jamais joué de
myself,
comédie,
oh,
ou tiens, je joue
I'm
avec un
acting
non
here with
professionnel.
someone
De la même
who's
manière,
never
quand
acted
je joue avec
before.
un acteur professionnel ou une actrice
I
professionnelle,
act
je ne
the
me dis pas comme
same
réflexe
with
avant
a
de tourner,
professional or not a
tiens,
professional.
je
I
joue avec un
don't
professionnel.
make a list
Donc,
of
dans le sens
the person,
contraire non plus.
the qualities of the person opposite me.
En plus, le fait
And
d'incarner
furthermore, the fact of playing
et d'avoir le temps
a person and having
comme
had
dans
the
la vie,
time
pour vivre
to
le moment
experience
présent, fait que ça me ramène
the
immédiatement, même moi,
present moment brings
à
me,
un statut
even
de
me,
non-professionnel,
back
puisque,
to the status
en
of a
fait,
non-professional,
Stéphane
because
est
Stéphane,
dans un état où
made
sans
it
le signifier avec des mots,
without saying it in so many words,
vous
but
explique,
made it
voilà, je te
so
demande
that we were
de lâcher
all
prise,
just
d'être sans
letting
contrôle,
go. We
ni sous le mien, ni sous
were
le tien, juste
acting
vivre le moment comme
instinctively.
tu le
We just
vivrais si tu étais
experienced
Thierry.
the moment
Donc, je
as if it
deviens
was
moi
our
aussi
real life. So
quelqu'un qui, pour la
I
première
too
fois,
became
moi aussi,
someone
j'étais un
who
non-professionnel
was
dans ce film,
a non-professional
puisque
actor.
je joue pour la première fois dans un dispositif de
Because
cinéma
I was
que je n'avais jamais
in
appréhendé avant.
a setup for the very first time, that
parce que je sais
particular
comment marche une
setup for the
caméra,
very
je sais,
first time.
je connais un peu
Of course, I know how the
sont
cameras
faites les
work
choses,
and how
de
things
quoi
have
il
to
en
be
retourne.
done and
Mais
what
n'empêche
the
que
stakes are. However, that being said,
j'étais comme un pilote automobile.
it was
moi
as
aussi, je
if
découvrais la piste.
I was
J'ai peut-être fait des grands prix
a
avant,
first-time
mais c'était
driver.
une
If we were
nouvelle
at
piste, j'ai pas eu le
a
temps
Grand
d'aller
Prix circuit,
repérer
I
les
was still a
virages, les
first
lignes droites,
time
les
driver.
bosses,
I had to
les
kind of
bosses.
master
Donc, à un moment,
any
pareil,
humps,
on arrive
any
en haut d'une
corners,
bosse,
any
dans un
straight
virage,
lines.
j'appréhende de la même manière.
And I
C'est là
was
où on était
broaching
tous
all of these turns in the road the same way as the other actors. So we were all on the same level playing field.
Dans ce film, est-ce que vous avez justement, en étant confronté à cette mise en place, à cette réalisation de Stéphane Brizé, découvert vous aussi des choses justement sur la société au-delà du métier d'acteur, au-delà du tournage, mais juste en rencontrant ces professionnels qui vous mettaient dans une situation que vivent des millions de Français? Est-ce que vous avez découvert des choses sur la
personnalité? Did you learn much?
Malheureusement, non.
About humanity? Well, sadly, no, I didn't. All I could do was to check, confirm things which I've already read about. But that's not the whole story. In the film, there are many other stories.
Le sensationnel de ce qu'on nous montre.
We're not trying to be sensational here.
Ce qu'on nous montre aux actualités ou qu'on lit dans les journaux.
We're not trying to echo what we
hear on the news. Et moi, je suis un acteur de cinéma, donc je fais pas de reportage.
We're not doing a documentary. I'm a movie actor, and Stéphane Brizé is a movie director. So we have a fiction here. It's a real story. A man who has a wife, a child. It's a real cinematographic story. It's a story, and we hope people will remember it. And perhaps it will make its mark on the history of cinema. Then why not? Often, these are films that tell a story about contemporary life. All of the big films which we remember today, it's not obligatory, but one of the conditions is that they talk about the world at the time of making that film. And that is the case of this film. Who knows what will be its future? We'll have to wait and see. But it's an important film. Was everything written down, all the scenes, all of the encounters, or was there any improvisation?
Il y a un scénario qui est très
écrit, screenplay, very, very detailed
qui fait un nombre de pages normal,
the normal number of pages, which was presented to the people who were funding the film. And then when we were filming, I didn't hand it out to the actors. I simply gave them the necessary pertinent information that they needed for the scene. The starting point, the finishing point. Occasionally, some of the places we'd call in along the way, but it was their story. They were what they were. In the film, a lot of them are playing their real jobs. So they have their own language, their own vocabulary. So I didn't know all of that vocabulary when I was supervising the screenplay. So they injected that. They inject such reality into the scene, and Vincent is there, and he reacts with that real material.
On va pas en révéler trop sur le film, mais
let's not reveal too much about the film, but he becomes a security guard.
Finalement, qui se retrouve entre l'enclume et le marteau, presque. Pourquoi avoir fait ce choix?
Job, very cinematographic job. You're in between two teams there, the management and the staff. Well, we have to be careful about the terms that we use. Security guard, cashier. We have to adopt all the right vocabulary. This security guard has he does the same job as a bouncer, for example, but you call him a security agent, and then that makes it more acceptable in society.
Agent de sécurité, je disais que c'est un métier
so you are a security guard in the supermarket. You're at the heart of the very system.
Oui, et ce qui, moi je trouve très cinématographique, très souvent dans les films, c'est justement les personnes qu'on ne regarde pas. Les invisibles. Et les agents de sécurité, pour le moins, sont des invisibles. On en croise tout le temps.
They're invisible. You see, they are all over the place, but you don't always see them. If you're at the supermarket, you don't always see them, but they're there at the end of the row of cash-out points.
Et dans la rencontre avec ces personnes, ce que j'ai aimé, c'était de voir qu'ils allaient évidemment, et heureusement, au-delà du cliché que je pouvais avoir. J'ai rencontré des hommes et des femmes qui s'en prennent plein la tête toute la journée. C'est pas eux qui en mettent plein la tête.
Faced with all kinds of situations throughout the day. They have to rest, they have to remain passive. They hear all kinds of insults, racist insults, which you could not imagine. And they have to just take that all on the cheek. And I have so much empathy for them. They have such a weird job. It's not a judgment that I'm making here, but you have to be a certain kind of character to take all of that on the chin. This is the first time you've been playing a security agent. Is it a physical role?
Dans le film quand vous avez endossé ce costume.
Oui, moi, c'est mon rêve depuis très longtemps d'endosser le costume d'un agent de sécurité ou d'un vigile
play the
ou
role
d'un
of
garde du corps.
a bouncer, a bodyguard, a security agent, in that kind of body of professions. I wanted to do that for a long time. In fact, also because of the way they use their bodies, the way they move, their gestures, the way that they calmly look around them, observing everything, but being absent by the same token.
Et puis en même temps, laissant libre cours à
you have to be aware, but they've had so much time to reflect on their own personal lives, to wander off in a dream world. A lot of people that I worked with to prepare the film was working on how I stood, how I would move, how I would go from point A to point B. It's really essential for me. So it was a fabulous opportunity for me.
Vincent Lindon, Stéphane Brizé.
Yes, Vincent and Stéphane. This is the third time you've been working together.
De si particulier chez
cet acteur? What appeals to you so much in Vincent Lindon?
C'est la première fois avec Vincent que je fais plusieurs films avec le même acteur.
Vincent is the only actor with whom I've done several films. Before meeting Vincent, I thought it wouldn't be possible. I couldn't imagine making several films with the same actor, different stories, same actor. I couldn't imagine that.
C'est peut-être très immodeste de ma part. L'idée qu'il y a une forme de chez Vincent, une forme de prolongement de moi-même, et qu'à l'écran, il fait ce que Stéphane Brizé, s'il avait été acteur, pourrait faire, mais en formidablement bien.
Seeing Vincent, that if I had been an actor, that's what I could have done, but he does it much better, of course. There's such trust. I'm behind the camera, he's in front of the camera.
Une fréquence de résonance.
But there's like a radio frequency passing between us. We're on the same wavelength. Yes, of course you choose to work with Stéphane. Well, he asks me and I accept. But by accepting, I also have my propositions to put forward. But it all starts with the director. He has the story, he writes it, he imagines the story. It's his fantasy. He dreams it up.
Oui, je ressens exactement la même chose.
But yeah, I feel exactly the same things as Stéphane.
Je le sens. Je ne sais pas si je suis un prolongement de Stéphane.
I don't know if I'm an extension of Stéphane. Or if I'm
la projection, la personne la plus apte
the best placed person to get as close to the fantasy that he has in his mind of the film, of what he would have done had he been the actor on the set.
On se comprend extrêmement bien.
But we understand each other so well.
De se passer de la pommade, on n'en est pas là du tout.
We're not here to
c'est vrai que
praise each other uselessly here.
Immédiatement.
But when he wants something, I know immediately what he wants. I know immediately when he's happy, when he's unhappy. I just need to take a look at him. I just take a look. After we cut, the first thing the actor does is to look at the director. That's what I always do anyway, immediately. And in a fraction of a second, I know whether it's great, it's in the can, or if we have to redo something. And the time it takes for me to move from where I've been acting to where he is, by the time I've reached him, he doesn't even need to start explaining what needs to be redone. We mumble and bumble about, and he'll say, I thought that, well, and I say, yeah, I get it. So we kind of utter half sentences, but we know what we mean. We don't have enough time to get out a sentence.
Vincent
is so demanding. He's always questioning the truth of the instant.
Parce que je n'ai pas d'affect avec mon texte, avec la disposition que je mets en place.
I know what's been set up, and if he has a question, and if he can suggest it might be better like this rather than that,
je peux l'entendre et inversement.
I can accept that. And on the contrary, I can make suggestions to him because we're not satisfied by the idea we start off with in the morning. We've got the morning idea, and then there's everything that happens in the instant that we're acting. Thank you very much for coming in and speaking to us, Vincent, Stéphane, The Measure of a Man. You're going to go on to your press conference any minute now.
de Stéphane Brizé avec Vincent Lindon.